Welcome to the Mental Health Hour. Welcome to episode number 94. I had to look. Uh, Today's episode is on grounding techniques. Um, we did a broadcast a long while back. It was actually Gemma's first official broadcast as a co-host on the Mental Health Hour. So it was episode 6. If you
Yeah.
remember way back when we had Gemma on as episode 5 for my first live interview, and she's stuck around ever since. It was a good fit, and we'll take a quick stroll down memory lane to that first official broadcast.
Oh,
Why, hello.
hey.
Welcome to the Mental Health Hour. This is episode 6, Ground Yourself. Tonight I figured we could discuss some grounding techniques as far as, getting ourselves recentered because last week we talked about triggers in episode 4 before Gemma's broadcast. And speaking of Gemma, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm not too bad, thank you. Honored to be here again.
Yes. So Gemma's going to be more of a permanent fixture here. It's much easier, I think, to do a broadcast with a co-host, so you can banter back and forth rather than me just trying to think of everything I'm trying to say and by myself to nobody.
Two heads
So,
better than one, eh?
that's right.
Oh dear, I literally looked like I just crawled out of bed to do it, like laid down.
How about that? That was episode 6 back on Haps TV.
Yeah, you
Before
can't get
they
rid of me
flushed
now.
themselves down the toilet. But yeah.
Literally down this one.
So now, all the way at episode 94, we're going with Ground Yourself 2. Taking another look at grounding techniques, what they are, what they're for, how to apply them. And I was laughing at myself too, because you could tell back in that those initial days how nervous I was. I just wasn't sure of myself. I hadn't been doing this ever. I knew I wanted to, and I knew it was what I wanted to do for like some step 12 work, passing along the good word, if you will. But I had it was outside of my comfort zone for one. I
Did you
mean,
expect to do so many episodes?
Yeah, I've definitely become a lot more comfortable with it now. It's so much easier to get up here and chat. But I was no shy guy or anything. I was a wedding DJ, and I'm a firefighter. Like, there's nothing shy about me. I just never experienced sitting in front of a computer talking to essentially no one, but there's people in the room chatting in the chat. You just can't see them. It's not like you're holding an actual conversation and then you're trying to give information and you're stumbling over your words and everything.
It's easier when there's 2 or more, I guess, because you've got an actual person to banter and go back and forth with.
And that's what, after that first interview on episode 5, I was like, that's exactly what this show needs. I need somebody to, banter with and to bounce ideas off of, and another perspective. We've got another country's perspective. We've got another gender's perspective. We've got a whole gamut of different things. So it's a good mesh, and we've been running strong for almost 100 episodes together.
And we were both equally as amused at the same stuff. We just got on really well with all the stuff we used to get up to.
This is one long interview
story. But yeah, it just, I don't know, we just clicked.
Thank you, Mr. Med, for the 5 bits. Is Penny in college now? No, she's in there watching Tangled or sleeping, one or the other. And you're throwing down the old school craps. Well, actually, haps.
That was on
Yeah.
Haps, that one, yeah, before they flushed it down the toilet, yeah.
I'd still like to know. We discussed this last week. I'd still like to know what happened to that broadcast studio. They sold that thing or something. They got the money for that. That broadcast studio was near perfect, you know. It's kind of very similar to StreamYard. I mean, the features and whatnot, but it was streamlined. It
Even the
made a lot of
intro
sense.
music that's generic on here, even their standard intro music and the numbers with the floating bits is on here.
Yeah,
And then if you look at the end broadcast where they announced that they were flushing it, basically, StreamYard watched that broadcast. So it
yeah.
makes you wonder.
But that's neither here nor there. It was a good time. It was a good platform while it lasted. And now we've moved on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But anywho, on with tonight's broadcast before we talk haps all hour long. I just thought it'd be fun to share that little clip
Yeah.
of back in the day. Whenever we do a sequel episode, I always go back and watch the original one to make sure we're not, discussing the same content just over again. I like to try and switch it up, talk about some new stuff, etc. So today, we're going to take a deeper dive into grounding techniques as a whole, and then a good look at how we can apply them to life. In the first episode, we got to talking a lot about just different ideas for grounding techniques, what everybody likes to do. Even the chat was chiming in on things they like. It can be as simple as taking a walk, taking a mindful walk, or there's also some actual exercises like box breathing or square breathing, as it's also known, or the tapping method. There's all kinds to get into. So let's get moving right into it. Jim says, I'm guessing broadcast studio was leased. The lease ran out. That could make sense. Maybe they had that on loan, and the time the contract was up, didn't want to pay, because when they made their big update, the whole studio was gone. It was a whole new. They completely wrecked everything, stripped it down to nothing, and handed it back bare bones and inoperable. But anyway, that's a good thought, though, Jim. Maybe it was on loan. I thought, they created it and then sold it for a fortune. But there goes the 6 o'clock sirens next to my house. I don't know if you can hear that. I got a fire station.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm on mute for a second.
Right next door to a fire station, and you don't work at that one. Oh dear.
Did I mute?
No. Now you've muted.
Now I'm muted.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll edit that out. So let's get right into business. Grounding techniques. Gemma, what do you got? What do you know?
I did some of these for a different reason, like with the self-harm and stuff. Different ways of stopping myself from self-harming, grounding in that sense. So like things down to the holding ice, putting your hands in cold water, breathing, stuff like that. And then there's the mindfulness side of grounding. So like with smell, taste, touch, that sort of listening, things like that, doing things mindfully. smell, that sort of thing. Going out is a good one. Mindful walk, things you can see, things you can smell, things you can touch, things you can taste.
Yeah.
Not necessarily when you're out, but yeah, things like that. But there is loads and loads of different ways of grounding, and you can do them in public, you can do them privately, depending on what you're going to do. It doesn't have to be anything massive, and can be used for lots of different things, lots of different reasons.
Yes, there is. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different reasons to bring grounding techniques to the table and utilize them in your day-to-day life. The most commonly sought after, the most commonly talked about, I guess, or that we see the most out there is for anxiety and intense situations, stressful situations,
Mm.
you know, very, very stressful times, like when the live streaming platform you know and love just decides to crap out and leave you. Okay, I'm done for real. I'm done for real.
Just had to get that last bit in there.
So let's get into our first slide. The essence of grounding is mindfulness. It's the root of it, really. If you don't understand mindfulness, then you're not going to understand how to ground yourself. So let's start with mindfulness. What is mindfulness? The principles of mindfulness. Gemma, if you will, please.
I think stream elements might be broken. Just noticing in the comments.
So Ray was having an issue on his stream last night with stream elements. So if it is, it is. Don't worry about it, guys. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, okay.
But
Cool.
we will, I guess Twitch will get that, or it probably falls on stream elements. But anyway, no worries on it. They'll get it squared away.
Yeah, okay. So principles of mindfulness. So number 1, no judgment. Practicing mindfulness makes us aware of our thought process and when and how we get distracted. Number 2, patience is the key. So be patient with our progress and learn from our mistakes. Number 3, beginner's mind. The beginner's mind refers to developing a curious mindset to see everything as if it was for the first time. It is a process to see the world with the eyes of a child and without any judgment or assumptions. Number 4, trust the process. Trust is an essential factor when it comes to learning something new. Mindfulness is a concept for you. It will take time to excel in it and to see the desired results. And number 5, non-striving. Mindfulness is about being satisfied with what you are and how far you've come without thinking good or bad. Acceptance. Accepting situations as they are and not changing them is the goal of mindfulness. Acceptance helps us to learn new things without judging them or changing them. And then number 7, let it go. We cannot control everything or every outcome. The best we can do in a situation is to let it go.
Excellent. Trust the process. I had to throw this slide in there because there was a bunch of slides that explain mindfulness. There's no shortage of them out there, but I like this one because of that trust the process. That was one of the mantras of when I was in rehab. It was one of the rehab mantras or motifs. Trust the process. Everybody kept saying it. Trust the process. Trust the process. And you do. You trust the process. Trust is an essential factor when it comes to learning something new, and that's what we're doing.
And if it doesn't work first time, don't give up. Keep trying, little and often.
So yeah, and what is mindfulness? What is grounding techniques? It's all part of what's called CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
We've done a couple episodes on that. Um, there's a bunch that goes into cognitive behavioral therapy, and there's also dialectic behavioral therapy, which is where more of that number 6 comes in, radical acceptance. Um, but mindfulness um, is essentially the root of uh, practicing good grounding techniques. So,
Mhm.
where can we practice mindfulness? Here's a couple ideas for you.
I had to laugh at one of these, but I'll get to that. Brushing your teeth, driving in silence or with calming music. I do that a lot. I like to drive with music on. Not necessarily calming, but it still grounds me. Doing the dishes or the laundry. Relaxing with the kids while you get them ready for bed. I do not find that even remotely relaxing, but some might. I find it a stress as they get older, but whatever works. And if you can do that, it is good for your child as well. Each to their own. Don't stress it if some of these don't work for you. It's individual preference. Exercising without music or TV and focusing on your breathing. That's actually one of the things that they say when you're trying to exercise as well, to like focus on your breathing, focus on what you're doing, focus on the sensation within your body. Um, a lot of pain management therapies and things, when they could come to grounding and trying to focus on other things. We did it on a broadcast once before. I think it was one of the grounding or mindfulness ones where I did something and I read it out about focusing on certain parts of your body, noticing the pain, and then like accepting it and letting it go. That's a good way to try and eliminate. It's not going to work and get rid of all your pain, but a way that you can try and eliminate some of the pain. And there's
Mhm.
many things out there. I think I've done one on YouTube. I think if that isn't the one that got took down.
Yeah, and these are just a
Mhm.
few options. I didn't want to bog us down with everything you could possibly do. The list goes on and on, but to
Yeah,
be
whatever works for you.
to practice mindfulness, something as simple as brushing your teeth is just the thing a beginner um, would
Mhm.
want to do. Really be in the moment. It sounds silly, but be in the moment when you're brushing your teeth. Feel everything, taste everything, smell it all.
Mhm.
Um, it really does calm and relax you. And then you could just go ahead and relax with your kids while you're getting ready for bed and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Driving is a big one. People drive to and from work. People get stressed the hell out at work. Take
Mhm.
that time in your car and sit in silence and just hear, listen, see, smell all the different things as you're going down the road.
Mhm.
Or if you can't do silence, a little calming music never hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've touched on mindfulness, we've got an idea of what mindfulness is. And if there's any questions at all, please don't hesitate to throw them in the chat if you guys um, want
Yeah,
to
that's a
chat
good
about
one.
it.
Elena put pets can be very helpful for grounding. If your
Yeah.
cat or dog will sit with you, being present with them can be really grounding. That's why they have therapy dogs and things. When my son was going through cancer treatment, they had therapy dogs because that can help them get through their treatment. Just stroking the dog. That's why I got a cat when I split with my ex now. Just for some company, and luckily both my cats will sit on my lap, and just the feeling of the fur, stroking them, like listening to them purring and things, it can really help. It can be really, really therapeutic. And it is a very good one that's used by a lot of hospitals, especially for children and elderly, things like that. So, yeah, that's a good one.
Absolutely. As Betty sneaks in here again, who knows how long she's been lurking, but that's perfectly fine because lurkers are always welcome too.
Yep.
Uh, we've always said that from the get go. Craig asks, Grounding is being happy, safe, satisfied with where you are right now. Question mark. Well, let's take a look. Now that we've got an idea of what mindfulness is, and I've told you that that's pretty much the root of good grounding. What is grounding?
Okay, so what are grounding techniques? Grounding techniques, also known as grounding exercises or grounding skills, can distract, reframe, or otherwise soothe distressing feelings. They shift your focus from past or future thinking into the present moment. You may already engage in some of these techniques without formally realizing it. Grounding exercises are especially helpful if you are experiencing things such as anxiety disorders, self harm urges, substance disorders, eating disorders, PTSD or CPTSD symptoms, disassociation, childhood trauma, panic attacks, persistent feelings of being overwhelmed, and chronic pain. So, just like I mentioned before. And that's one of the things that they used to teach me in when I was doing the self harm program, ways of grounding myself to prevent me from self harming. And if I was wanting to feel that instant ouch, just something to sting rather than actually physically harming, a way of getting that without doing like cutting or whatever, such as holding ice in your hand, because you can use that to give you that ouch, but also to ground you at the same time. Or putting your hands in really cold water, things like that. That is used as a way of giving you the ouch sensation when you immediately do it, but then bringing you into being able to ground yourself with that as well. So that's one thing that I was taught to do.
Indeed. Thanks for taking the lead there as
Yeah, I had.
we discussed how important it is to have a co-host. Little did we know 94 episodes down the road, we'd have a little baby girl in there that just wants to create havoc during the broadcast every night now.
Of course, that's what they do best.
Um, but yes, thank you for running with that. Now that we've gotten into that, we can go in and we can go ahead and look at some grounding techniques. And
Mhm.
we can discuss, um, different types. What does everybody like?
Yeah.
What does everybody prefer?
Okay, so grounding techniques. So grounding focuses on distraction strategies as intended to help you when you're overwhelmed with emotions. Grounding anchors you into the present moment and to reality, helping you to get through stressful moments and gain control over negative or challenging emotions. So the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. The goal with this exercise is to use the five senses to focus on the moment. This is actually one of the most popular ones, I think, that they try and teach you. This involves thinking about five things you can see, four things you can feel, three things you can hear, two things that you can smell, and one thing that you can taste in your immediate environment.
And we will get more into that. I have a video uh,
Hmm.
specifically on the 5 4 3 2 1 method because it's a good one, and
Hmm.
it's kind of a tutorial.
Yeah, yeah, and it is actually one that they teach you. Certainly, in my experience, with everything, every way of grounding for everything. So yeah, play the categories game. So try to think of types of dogs, jazz musicians, states that begin with A, cars, TV shows, writers, sports, songs, cities, etc. to challenge your brain to list as many things in those categories as possible. Um, Describe the steps in performing an activity you know how to do well. For example, explain how to shoot a basketball, prepare your favorite meal, or tune a guitar. Go through the process step by step as if you're giving someone else instructions on how to do it.
Um, we have some more on the next slide, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to say that my probably favorite would be the categories game.
Mhm.
I'm very puzzle minded. I love sitting and doing a crossword puzzle. I find that relaxing. or any puzzles. I'll sit and play with a Rubik's cube for that matter. It's just that's the way I've always been. I like the challenge your brain aspect of
Mm.
it. It's just it's one of my favorite things, and I do find it calming. So
Mhm.
moving forward,
Yeah. So we have the next one. Oops, when I don't close the thing, it's not going to let me. So read something, saying each word to yourself, or you can read each letter backwards so that you focus on the letters and not the meaning of the words. Touch various objects around you, so a pen, your clothing, the table, the walls. Notice the textures, colors, materials, weight, temperature. Compare objects you touch. Is one colder or lighter? Carry a grounding object in your pocket, so a small object, a small rock, clay, a ring, a piece of cloth or yarn that you can touch whenever you feel triggered. You can get those fidget things as well. They can be quite good.
those actually became pretty big. The fidget spinners, the fidget
Mm.
bubble popping thing.
I had one next to me earlier. Literally saw one. Thomas has got them everywhere.
They did.
Yeah, it
They
can be.
haven't come and gone either. It wasn't a passing fad. My kids all still play with fidgety toys. They've really expanded the market from just past those little helicopter doodads you held on to.
Mm,
But a grounding object can also be. A lot of people like to carry worry beads or
yeah.
a rosary or a worry stone. Just a
Yeah.
smooth piece of stone that they can just rub in between their hands, keep it in their pocket at all times. Um,
Mhm.
even a lucky penny or a lucky quarter or something, just to have on your person at all times.
Something like blue tack, sticky tack, whatever you call it. Um, anything, just something to play with, feel, anything. I used to do that when I was working in a school a lot if I was a bit stressed, just the blue tack. And then going on to the last one here, do a few exercises or stretches. For example, you can try jumping up and down, clenching and releasing your fists, walking slowly, stretching different muscle groups one by one. Pay attention to how your body feels with each movement and when your hands or feet touch the floor or move through the air. So again, that was very much like the one that we did on the broadcast.
At this point, I'm pretty sure that the doctors have paid or whatever to make sure we insert exercise into everything imaginable to make you feel better. I don't know about y'all, but
Oh,
exercise makes me feel like hell.
yeah, absolutely.
But
Definitely. More pain and
I
everything.
understand. It releases the endorphins and the dopamine and all that, and it
Yeah.
does it does have its place.
Mhm.
It's just not my favorite thing. Like I said, I'd rather just sit down with a puzzle or try and figure something out. But
Yeah.
here's some easy and uh, somewhat easy things to do. Just some ideas for you. Uh, if you're into trying to improve your grounding game, if you will, from day to day. So moving along forward again, more so in the forward direction. Uh,
Mhm.
6 ways to practice.
Yeah, 6 ways to practice grounding with anxiety and intense emotions. So, body, lay on the ground and press your toes into the floor and squeeze Play-Doh. Obviously, not outside the house in the middle of the street or anything. Five senses. So, wear your favorite sweatshirt, use essential oils, make a cup of tea. Self-soothe. So, take a shower or a bath. Find a grounding object like a candle. Observe. Describe an object in detail, color, texture, shadow, light, shapes. Breathe. Practice 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale to hold for 4. Inhale to 4, hold for 7, exhale to 8. I got that well mixed up there. And distract. So find all the square or green objects in the room. count by sevens, say the date, things like that.
Absolutely. And Jim, I'm so glad you brought that up. The catalyst candle is a perfect example of some grounding. Um, it's taking in, it's allowing us to not watch some talking heads while we listen to the broadcast or um, participate in the broadcast through chat. But we're not that we don't want to see Jim's beautiful face, but it's a different an alternative way of now we get to see this dancing flame, and
Mm.
it's soothing. So it's a perfect example uh, of grounding and mindfulness in action.
You can do a lot with that as well. I mean, obviously not, you can't smell it on the screen, but you can sort of see it and
You
focus.
can't smell it, but he can tell
Yeah.
us what the smell
Yeah.
is supposed to be, and we can imagine.
But you could light one you could light one as well while you're watching it to get the smell of that.
Absolutely, I don't
Yeah,
see why
why
not.
not? Be a great idea. Just yeah.
And then let's run through one more. I just couldn't pick, so I just put them all on there. Just one more slide of ideas.
Yeah. Okay, so grounding exercise to reduce anxiety again. Rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. That's always good in a journal as well. Like if you're keeping a journal, write it in your journal as to how you feel. Rate your anxiety. When you're getting rid of everything, stick it in your journal. Sit up straight and tall. Place your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Breathe slowly and deeply. How many windows are in the room? How many electrical outlets do you see? What does the chair or the couch you're on feel like? Is it soft, rough, smooth? What colour are your pants or trousers, or if you're in the UK? And your shoes? What do you hear?
Uses
Trousers, yeah. Because we're not going to start taking them off and looking at our underpants. I mean, you might want to if that helps you ground yourself. Just don't do it in public. What do you hear? What material is the floor made of? Is it smooth or bumpy, soft or hard, dirty or clean? What imperfections can you see? Name all of the TV shows you can think of. Name all of the types of shapes you can think of. Rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's still over 5, repeat the grounding exercise.
yeah, and that's called what? Number 11, not they did 11 twice. So number 12, rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. What do we call
Yeah.
that? Self check-in, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I
Check.
like to do that in a journal, like check in. I've got an app that pops up regularly asking me how I'm doing.
And
Um,
wouldn't you know that journaling is a great mind way to be mindful and a great
yeah.
grounding exercise. As with exercise, we seem to always find a way to insert journaling in. But it is. I mean, if you ever sit down with just your thoughts, a pen and paper, um, get away from the computers, get away from the AI, the Chat GPT, or whatever. I don't even know if I said that. Is it Chat GTP or PT?
GPT. Yeah, I can't remember.
Sit down with a pen, some paper, and your thoughts, and try seeing what comes out. And Chat GPT. Thank you, Jim. Um, and then check in. Always check in. And while you're checking in, you might as well write it down, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that is a look at mindfulness and grounding techniques and some ideas for grounding to get you started. Uh, we're going to go ahead and play this video. I like this one. It's different for our show. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the podcast audience, the folks that listen on Spotify and um, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do it because you kind of need to follow the cues of the video. So normally when we play a video, you can still hear the information just fine on the podcast, but this one has an interactive aspect to it. It's going to explain 5 4 3 2 1 method, and then it's going to give you 30 seconds to try it out yourselves. And I encourage everybody. I thought we might try it out on tonight's broadcast because we haven't done anything like that. The last thing I can remember was I believe Gemma took us through a body
Body scans. Yeah.
body scan. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the last interactive thing we've done. So I thought,
Is it something that we could put in on the YouTube and, well, more the audio ones? Is it something that we could record something or audio to do it that way? Would it work?
well, here I'll tell you what. Let's watch the video together
Mhm.
and see if you get any creative juices flowing for the podcast audience. But I encourage everybody to try it out. You don't have to, obviously. Who's going to be there watching you, grading you? But give it a try. It's fun. It's calming. It's soothing. It'll prompt you what to do after it explains the how it works, and then you just give it a try if you want. So enjoy. We'll be right back.
The 5 4 3 2 1 method is a grounding exercise that can help you stay in the moment and avoid negative thinking and worry. You can do this exercise anywhere, at home, at school, in the car, or even in the middle of a crowd. You can do it sitting, standing, or laying down. Counting down from 5, use your senses to list things around you. Make an effort to notice details about these things. This is how to do it. Start by breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then slowly look at your surroundings. Find 5 things that you can see around you. Maybe you see a colorful poster on the wall, the spider web on the bookshelf, the lamp on the nightstand with the red shade, the cat sleeping peacefully on the chair, the cactus on the dresser that has finally bloomed. Then list 4 things that you can touch. The warm mug in your hands, the soft comforter on the bed, the denim of your jeans, the scratchy carpet under your feet. Next, listen for 3 things you can hear. Maybe the ticking of a clock, the quiet hum of your computer, the sound of traffic from outside. Now try to find 2 things that you can smell. The tea in your mug, the clean scent of your clothes. Finally, list 1 emotion that you feel. This is a way to ground yourself so you can feel present in the moment and in control of your surroundings. Now you try. Use this method when you feel overwhelmed to bring yourself back to the present moment.
Right. Oh, so if anybody participated, what did you think? And as you can see, the interactive portion of that is going to be a little difficult for the folks listening on Spotify and any podcast platform. If you are, we will figure something out. But I basically just said in that time of music to run through what was just said. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Just do it in your current surroundings.
I have an idea, but I'll run it past you after.
Sure. So just a one of the more, I guess, I don't want to call it complex. It's not that hard. It's just utilizing your 5 senses, being mindful. But it when I say complex, it's more than just going outside for a stroll or sitting and doing a crossword puzzle. Another thing that isn't or we haven't discussed yet, we've talked about counting, tapping, and those types of things. ASMR is big. A lot of folks have found ASMR helps to calm and soothe. But one thing that I used to do when I couldn't fall asleep at night was kind of similar to counting and touching. I would draw on my bed. I would be laying in bed and I would draw on the sheet next to me, 1, 2, 3, 4, and use my finger against the sheet to keep drawing them out as I went. And it definitely would help me kind of relax and fall asleep. I don't know if Gemma, do you have anything outside the box maybe we haven't covered yet that you like to do?
What, to get to sleep?
Or just any kind of grounding technique for that matter.
Sometimes music, but I tend to relay the words of the song in my head. I have a few favorite ones, and I'll really think about the words. I tend to do that when I'm driving as well. That's a good one for me. And then audiobooks, things like that. I tend to listen to.
You would say you're a very audio person.
Yeah, yeah. I have dyslexia. I managed to get through 13 years of teaching without nobody noticing. But yeah, I do struggle, especially when I'm stressed with reading, because it just doesn't seem to go in, and it's like somebody's holding the book and it's just shaking, like the words move and stuff. So for me, audio is definitely better. And that way I can just sort of close my eyes, concentrate on it. There's nothing to watch because I'd find a video too engrossing. But I need to have the courage to upload them. I have actually recorded a few things that I intended to put on YouTube for that sort of thing. Body scans, sleep stories, things like that.
I'm still waiting for your ASMR video you've
Yeah,
been
I've done some. I need to
since
send.
episode 6 of this show.
Yeah, I will do that. I will send it to you.
It's not a bad idea because not only are you getting into are you tapping into your own creative grounding techniques, but you're then also creating content for someone else to use. So you're kind of getting a double dose there, if you will.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed doing it.
I talked about it at the beginning of this show. That's why I wanted to start this show, is to share content about mental health with others, because I find comfort and solace in that. Plus, it is definitely a part step 12 work for my program. It's an enjoyable thing for me to come on here every week and talk about different things and see you folks and chat and talk to you guys in the Discord when I can break away from dad life and what have you.
Milestone next month as well, isn't it?
What's that?
A milestone for that next month, right?
Yes, indeed. Next month I get to pick up my next chip. This is my 2-year chip. I still have it right here in front of me. I'm going to retire this one with the others, and I'll be picking up my 3-year chip next month, June 16th.
Yeah.
It'll be 3 whole years of sobriety. So, man, that went fast, huh? But it really is all about doing things like this and working a program. That's what has made me successful. I didn't understand that shit when I first started or first wanted to get sober. But I was trying to get sober for all the wrong reasons. I was getting sober for somebody else. I definitely wasn't doing it for me yet. And that's above all one of the most important parts of it. You have to do it for you. You have to be ready to take those steps. I can't quit drinking for, my mom or my wife, or hell, I'd hate to say it. And God, I've never had to, thank God I never had to be put in this situation, but I don't know that I would have stopped drinking for Penelope. It's just had that much of a wrap around my brain that it was above all the most important thing. I thought I actually needed it though, like there was a whole other thing going on in my head to justify, that I didn't have a problem. And that's what we do. We don't want to admit there's an issue. Nobody wants to admit that they're powerless over anything, right? Especially a firefighter who can fix anything, right? That's what they call us for. When shit hits the fan, you call the fire department. Come in and mitigate the situation. So we are problem solvers. Every time I go to work, I have no clue what the hell I'm going to see or do that day.
God, no.
It could be literally anything. And we just have to show up and do the best we can to mitigate the situation.
Totally can
get
be.
the emergency and take care of life and property.
But you can't take care of other people if you can't take care of yourself.
Right. And that reigns true for everyone.
You have to look after yourself, whether it's just being a parent, doing a job, doctor, nurse, firefighter, police, whatever you do. Even just day to day, to look after someone else, you have to look after yourself first.
Craig, Craig says, I have a mate who stopped drinking for his kids. There's always outliers. I'm not saying everybody's the same. That was my path. I don't know that I would have been able to stop for literally anything. It took me laying in a hospital bed for the 3rd time, telling me I was dying for me to even believe them. 3 times to the hospital before I said, okay, maybe there is something wrong here. But the other side of that also, Craig, is that might be his program. So in AA, we're taught to, where the program is about giving up. You're powerless to this. So now it's time to move over to the passenger seat and let somebody else drive. For a lot of folks, and how the program started was very religious. God was the higher power. But not everybody believes in God, right? And that's fine. There's a whole chapter called We the Agnostics. It's all inclusive. And your higher power can literally be anything. I can choose the tree out back as my higher power. I'm stopping drinking. So he might have chose his kids as his higher power and his drive. Once he was ready to make that commitment and make that step for help. Now, I don't know obviously his story, or if he is even working a program, or if he just cut it out cold turkey one day on a whim. I don't know, but that could factor in as well. He could be using his kids as his higher power. But anyway,
that's true for many things, even like the self-harming and stuff. That's what I had to do in order to stop trying to end my life, is find a reason to stick around. And initially that reason was Thomas, and not necessarily anything other than without me, he's on his own. So that was enough at first.
absolutely.
So yeah, you have to do and use what you can and utilize it in order to find a way to keep going.
And yeah, and as we get into talking about, or I was just talking about, God being the higher power and what have you, Hattie says, my faith helps me stay grounded. Something we haven't touched on. Faith is another great thing to bring into your mindfulness and grounding technique strategies. It's always, if you are a faithful person of any religion, bring it in. Talk to God, pray. Even going to church groups and such, and being with other folks that you get along with. And it doesn't even have to be like church thing. This goes for everybody. If you get along with some bingo folks, go play some bingo and relax. Take it in, listen to the caller. Feel the dotty pen as you write down your winning numbers, and listen closely as you hear that son of a gun next to you call bingo, one square away from having it yourself.
Responsible gambling as well, remember.
I'm lucky. I wasn't put in a position where I had to choose alcohol over my daughter. But instead now I have my daughter as a driving force for me to continue to stay sober. It works out just the same. Like I'm very happy with how things went down. I don't know how you look yourself in the mirror. I mean, there was many a days that I had trouble looking at myself in the mirror without saying you're such a piece of shit. But the grounding and the mindfulness and everything that we've discussed tonight really helps you take a step back and look deeper at the person staring back at you in the mirror, and knowing that you're not this horrible thing, that you're actually worth something, and you do good, and you need to remember that, and bring it through your day-to-day life, and keep yourself grounded, rather than letting all the resentments of life and stressors of life rule you and weigh you down. Stay a step ahead and just start doing some box breathing. For those of you that aren't familiar with box breathing or square breathing, that's where you literally you breathe in for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold that for 4 seconds, and you just keep going in the box. And you're supposed to sit like with your legs crossed and your arms like this if you really want to get the full effect. But that's what box breathing is. I don't know if we've discussed that or not. I think I have hit everything I wanted to cover tonight. Gemma, did you have anything for wrapping up before we start closing up shop?
Not particularly. I will post that stuff that I've been promising for ages and then stick a link in the Discord.
And I am, as I said in the Discord, I am working feverishly on getting us up to date on our YouTube and Spotify pages. So stay tuned for the additional
Yeah, there's something on the website as well coming that I just need to upload.
So we don't have commands tonight, but I do still have some old banners. But first, let's promote ourselves a little bit. Next week, I already have it done. Next week, episode 95, parenting and co-parenting. Parenting and co-parenting. I added.
Fun for me.
We had I said, why not? We had a viewer request for an episode on parenting and mental health. Well, I thought we should include co-parenting because it's a lot more of a thing than it would have been years ago, I guess, back in the 50s, 60s. Everybody. Divorce is mainstream now. Everybody's got one. I have one.
Yeah, everyone's allowed to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Some
plus I got tired of. I also got tired of naming every one of our episodes something and mental health. It's in the title of the show, the Mental Health Hour. We know it's mental health.
Yeah.
Also, guys, this past Friday, the 19th, we did our first Discord check-in, community check-in on the Discord. If you go into the Discord and you are a part of the Discord, first of all, go join the Discord. And secondly, there's a channel in the Discord called Lounge. It basically offers like a Zoom platform. You can get on there and Zoom with me and Gemma. We had a few folks join us. We chit-chatted. I was at work, unfortunately. I got called into work, and I had to go on an ambulance call about 40 minutes into it. But we're looking at a 45-minute time frame, no more than an hour. We don't. Gemma's getting on at 10 p.m., so we don't want to keep her up all night. But it was a lot of fun. We got to chit-chat with some of y'all, and we're going to try and do this once a month on the Discord. So there's the QR code. You don't have to cam up. You don't have to even use your voice. You can stay on mute the whole time. Just come hang out and listen. It's all good. Everybody's welcome. It's very relaxed. Talk about whatever you want. There's no topics. There's no teachings. We don't get on there and lecture on anything. It's just chilling, hanging out, and checking in.
And just for the sake of anyone that might be just listening on audio, I've made a short link. It's tinyurl.com/TMHH Discord. Just in case you're on audio only.
Excelente. The old tiny Earls.
Yeah.
All right, folks. You know what it's time for. Community calendar. And as always, we start off with Jim in Chicagoland as he follows us every Wednesday. Of course, he's been going for 6 years now. Mental Health Hour is coming up on its 2 year.
Yeah.
2 years we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting some time under our belt as well. But check out Catalyst tonight with Jim in Chicagoland, all about that candle we were discussing earlier. If you haven't been, it's a really good time. We chit-chat about anything. And Jim throws a good little party, fireside chats, good times. Also check out A Ray of Sunshine. He's in the chat as well. You can click on him, give him a follow. He did his stream last night at about 8 o'clock. I still haven't updated that. Yeah, I did update it. That must be the old one. Anyway, Eric J Gaming. We haven't seen much of him lately, but he still does a stream every Monday night. I hope everything's going well. I know there was some stuff going on in his neck of the woods that he was discussing with us, keeping him from streaming regularly and being in some of the regular broadcasts that he liked to join in. So thoughts and prayers to him and his community with what they have going on. We'll give him a follow and watch him on Monday nights. And then don't forget about my...
Typed it in yours. Sorry.
What?
I just realized I typed as you then. It's just my Twitch handle at the end.
There we go. Oh, dang. I don't have the info saved for Gemma. that's her above me. She's been with me now for 89 episodes.
Mhm.
But that's a long time to hang out with me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that one up on the big screen for more. Oh, the parenting episode. Yeah, so Gemma does all kinds of good stuff on her Twitch as well, and has a YouTube channel. So give her a follow for all her information as well. And eventually she'll have some body scans and ASMR for you at some point in the near century. And lastly, for all things bunny, you know her, you love her, Ella, the bunny mom. Give her a follow as well. And check out her website, mybunnyvalentine.com. Use the promo code FireDude15 to save 15% on all of your purchases. Help support Ella in her mission to save bunny rabbits everywhere. She also streams here on Twitch and plays the ukulele and other instruments. Late nights, if you're a bit of an insomniac, catch her on late. That is all I got. Is Diva Woman still in here by chance? Hattie? Shirley? She might have split.
She was driving, I think, so she might not be able to.
Oh, okay. I was going to go grab the little one she was talking about, Penelope, earlier. I can hear her in there wreaking havoc. So it is dinner time for her, though. So
At least she's at an age at the moment where she can't go and absolutely trash things and stuff. But a few more months and she'll be all over them cupboards.
She's got her grounding technique in there. It's called a squishmallow. She likes to bury her face into it and just, yeah. You know what those are, Gemma? Squishmallows? Are they over there in the UK?
Are they what feel like they've got a putty inside them or something?
No, they're just these new big stuffed animals. It's a fad now.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. I got to go feed a baby. And we'll see you guys next week. Like we said, we're doing parenting and co-parenting next week. So it should be a good time. Lots to talk about and lots to enjoy. We'll see you guys next week. Bye now.
Bye.